It's always destroy the core in every other case.
Alrighty then. What's up, everyone? It's me, Aquas, and I'll be hosting with Extruder X here.
Kept you waiting, huh?
Yep, Gradius 2. On the arcade and PC-Engine, we'll be focusing on mostly. And to do that, we're going to be joined by guest SuperViper T302 once again, 2302.
Hi.
Yep. Yep, it's going pretty good. So this should be pretty cool. We're gonna pretty much do our thing here and watch one loop of the one credit clear for Gradius 2 on the arcade by SuperViper, and then we're gonna watch the PC-Engine version and talk about some of the differences on that, and that's going to be a one credit clear as well, and also see some of the second loop. But that PC-Engine run is also going to be on the professional difficulty, or the hardest difficulty for the PC-Engine, and SuperViper.
And the hardest difficulty of Gradius 2 ever.
Yeah,
yes,
so that's
it's
exciting.
harder than arcade, very hard mode with the dip switches.
And you'll see, like, the kind of difference between these runs is that the arcade run is going to be kind of more of a casual kind of playthrough, where and I'm going to be a bit more aggressive in the PC-Engine version, and also it's just going to be a lot more difficult. But well, there's not too many differences between the versions, but there's enough to be noteworthy. So you just want to dive right in.
Right on, and yeah, after this one, I think the only dedicated episode that CGUki will have left over would be the Gradius 1, because I don't think we've actually done a dedicated episode for that yet, so just trying to complete the...
We also haven't done...
Go ahead.
Birth.
Well, Rebirth, yeah.
Strawberry Proteus, Salamander 2, and the MSX titles and the Game Boy titles. I think those are the only ones that are missing.
Yeah, I mean,
there's still a lot.
The main ones is what is all I was getting at.
Yeah. A Rebirth, a mainline game, but I can see why others wouldn't.
But yeah, so that's pretty hype. So yeah, why don't we just get into it, and we'll start talking about what makes Gradius 2 an upgrade from the original Gradius. Main thing is you're going to have weapon selection. We'll get into that, but yeah, we're just going to watch the arcade run to get started out with, and then pretty much just let SuperViper take it away as we learn a bit more about some Gradius here. So yeah, good stuff.
Yep.
Alright, countdown.
Yep. The countdown.
Are you just starting at 000?
Yeah. Countdown will be on go from
right.
3, 2, 1, go. Alright, let's get into Gradius 2 on the arcade by SuperViper T302. Alright, 3, 2, 1, go.
Tidbit, this was actually the first time I've ever once seen this game on MAME. I normally play this on the PSP using Gradius Collection, so this was kind of new for me.
Okay, so how recent was the run? Last night? Wait, what?
Wait for SDG Weekly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I asked it to be done with Type A, so it would not be the same type as the PC-Engine run. So the Type A
is also my
is
first one to
basic.
see with Type A.
Yeah, it's the most basic type. It's pretty much the same as in Gradius 1. Only with the exception that in this game you can use Force Shield instead of a shield, and the main difference is that it protects you from all directions, and it also burns away extremely fast. Especially
it takes only 3 hits before it expires. So this first stage is a stage that's going to vary a lot in terms of score. Every single one of these dragons is 3,000 points. I once saw a high score run where they got 140,000 points in the first stage alone. They got 43 dragons or something. Auto fire, and I'm also playing with a keyboard, so...
Does taking out the dragons enable other ones to spawn, or what's going on with getting that many dragons?
If you pay attention here, I killed this dragon. as it spawns, and then a few seconds later, another dragon spawns from the same spot. I think up to 3 can spawn from the same spot.
Oh. That's cool.
Alright, so
they're
about the
way
chat,
more aggressive on higher loops.
the force field, it does increase your hitbox size. You can determine that very easily. You can just walk really closely to subterranean, and the force field will drain, but you will not die.
I think in this game, if you have the force field, you are completely invincible. So if you have enough speed ups, you can literally fly through a wall. And to ever utilize that, except maybe if you happen to run into a dead end in the high speed stage. Dragons, every 6th fireball spawns a power-up capsule. So if you would rather, instead of going for score, you can opt to just farm the fireballs to get it fully powered up in the first stage. I kind of did a bit of a mixture in this playthrough.
Shoot it in the head.
Are we gonna have an option thief manipulation again in this one?
Not really, but I just saw him playing around with it later in the run. Yeah. Phoenix, I just farm its fireballs for just a little bit, and then shoot it in the head a bunch of times.
Nice.
Okay. Option thief is another thing that Gradius II introduces, is that if you have 4 options, and in later games, you don't even have to have 4 options, if I recall correctly.
I think only Gradius 3 does that. I think in every other game you need 4 options.
Okay, yes, so it will appear beside you at specific intervals, like since you first enabled the 4th option, I believe.
It's like a timer that starts as soon as you get your 4th option.
So you can pretty much manipulate it to strike only at specific times.
I don't really have any good cues in this game. The only game where I actually actively manipulate it is Gradius 4.
Yes. So otherwise, if you aren't good enough with evading the option thief, you can just play with 3 options and he will never get you.
Playing with 3 options is lame. But it's not really going to be a threat for the first 3 stages, but once I get to stage 4, I am going to do some stuff. Little fact here, this song, Synthetic Life, was actually unused in Gradius 2/Nemesis 2 for MSX. So this song technically is not original to this game.
That's funny.
Yeah. Having like another Ruin style level in that game, and Synthetic Life would have been used for that. But instead it just got used here.
Yeah, I just call this the Contra stage. Because it just looks so much like a Contra game, especially with the alien sacks coming up.
Yeah, these alien sacks coming up here. Shouts to that dead end. I'm pretty sure that screwed me over the first time I played this game.
That's the path just above, right?
Yeah. Also, this auto scroll right here it just sucks. You have to know it's coming, and you have to anticipate it. Otherwise, it will kill you.
I've never been killed by that before. It's funny.
It will take you by surprise the first time you play this game. Okay, you're gonna see me do a much more effective version of this quick kill in the PC-Engine version. It's kind of harder to do in this version with Type A, because the laser's reload times are terrible. It takes way too long for the laser to reload in this game. It's also not very powerful in general. But it does pierce through everything, and you can use it to kind of sweep areas, kind of like other Gradius games.
Yeah, that laser seems pretty good.
Fun fact about that eye, if you time it out, it will actually fly out of the cavity straight out at you. I was so scared when it happened.
While it's doing that, actually.
I think I've had that happen.
If too much of a wall is built up behind you, you're just dead unless you fly under it or above it, which there's not a whole lot of room to do that either.
Yeah, but it's possible.
It's like those first 2 stages are pretty tame, but then picks up a bit here, doesn't it? I'd say.
This is the precursor to the bubble stage in Gradius 3, which I know everybody loves.
Yeah.
I argue this stage is worse.
Like, what's better than ice cubes than bubbles? Like, bubbles turn into ice cubes, so it's like the de-evolution. Evolution.
Oh boy.
Well, Gradius 3, if you have the right weapons, the bubbles go down in like 5 seconds. In this game, these crystals take a lot of punishments.
So is laser better than double for taking out the chunks, would you say?
So, because the double is also kind of slow in this game. This stage, your pea shooter is not going to do crap against these things.
So,
yeah.
Kind of nice with the laser. You can like
sweeping lasers.
Sweep them over. It's a nice trick.
Platforms of randomness. These platforms move in an entirely random fashion, and it's never the same 2 times in a row.
Okay. This is where the randomness begins.
Yes. Disjointed from each other in ways that screw you over. That's
randomness.
Fun.
Yeah.
In my 80s shmup game.
88. The full name of this game is actually Gradius II Gopher no Yabu, which translates to Gradius II The Ambition of Gopher. But for some reason, in European countries, it's called Vulcan Venture, and I have no idea why.
Yeah.
Because it has Vulcans.
I mean, it's a pretty lame name.
I mean, Gradius was just called Nemesis in Europe, so don't know what's up with that. Here's the section where you really don't want to die.
Yeah, the previous section you just don't want to die, and here you really need it.
Yeah, because recovering here really sucks. AKA,
although, strangely, I think if you get here and you park next to the ceiling, the crystals will never actually hit you for some reason. They just kind of never go all the way up to the ceiling.
It's pretty hard when you use Type B, which introduces the spread bomb that you, most of you know by Gradius 3 version. You can't just fire constantly because the spread bomb projectile will just blind whatever it hits, and you just won't see that. It's hard to play with that type.
So here's Crystal Core, and of course they don't warn you that it's going to come from behind, so yeah, know that. Area safe spot. If you notice, every time I'm lined up with the barriers on Crystal Core, it kind of stops. So if you stop dead center and then go inside its arms and just stay still, it will never move up and down, and you'll fly, and the lasers will fly past you.
It will still drain your force field though, but it's still a good trick to know about.
Yeah, have to be wary of the suicide bullets.
Yeah.
But I don't use that safe spot anyways because it's cheap. Most safe spots in this game are. There's a lot of, I think there's actually a lot of like intended safe spots in this game.
I feel judged.
Yeah, I found that the space
I intentionally let it take one option here. I'm also going to do this in the PC-Engine version because you do not want that option 100 to show up in the Y stage, and I'll explain why later. Also, this is the best song in the game.
Even though it's only like 20 seconds long.
Yeah, it's a banger for sure. This game has a really good OST for sure.
Yep. So you switch to double here.
Because you want to fire, you want to be able to fire up in this stage.
Or you can get really crafty and like leave option traps behind the walls, but then like you're flying all around everywhere and whatnot.
And also you risk getting trapped in dead ends.
Yeah.
Helpful against these rocks because since the rocks stop the double shots right away, you can just fire more and more.
That's some good popcorn milk. Popcorn milk. 3%.
This is another stage where you really don't want to die because recovery technically is possible, but you don't want to do it.
Yeah, it's kind of silly with the difficulty curves of the old games, how the first 2 stages are like pretty much free, and 3 and 4 just completely murder you.
Yeah, the thing with this game, honestly, is that it's really easy as long as you don't die. It's when you die that things get difficult.
Well, there's a reason the particular trope is known as Gradius syndrome. Even though Gradius is one of the games where recoveries are actually somewhat fair compared to stuff like RTAP 1,
Yeah, but still, get good.
Even though, like, you dying in this game is okay, as in it's still the intended way to play the game. Just trying to find out the good recoveries. So it's just not just reload the save state, just play it out. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
What I did there was for destroying Death Mark II's hatch there, I was actually just firing missiles because for some reason, if you're just firing missiles by themselves, that's a lot more powerful than if you're firing both at the same time.
Oh, wow.
3 more losses in this run.
It's pretty different.
This version as well. Because of the free vertical scrolling, if the Option Hunter shows up, so the Option Hunter aligns vertically with your ship, I believe. It's either your ship or the first option, I don't actually remember. And when the screen scrolls, the Option Hunter scrolls with it, and it stays aligned with you, which makes it almost impossible to dodge.
And for obvious reasons, you cannot destroy it.
Uh-oh.
Well, if in case you don't know how the Option Hunter takes your options, it grabs... So let's say it were to grab the option that's closest to me, it would take that, and then every option following it. So all of my options would be gone. An option, and it would take 2, 3, and 4, and so on.
Yeah, if you would imagine the Viper as an actual snake that has all this like tail following you around, and Option C just bites the tail off. So just taking one farthest option is the best way to deal with him.
I will eventually reactivate the 4th option because it's only really a threat in this stage. And now the Moais are angry, so when the music kind of kicks up in this stage, they turn into these red Moais, and now they can turn around, and if they're lying down, they can stand up. Or rings. But this type is terrible for farming because the laser just pierces through everything and kills the Moais immediately.
I feel bad that people actually use those blinking projectiles a lot of times before people really thought about the implications of seizures and all that stuff, like with Pokemon anime, certain episode and all that.
Moais.
It wasn't that.
And this is where you can go ham for score. This and the next boss is where you can just go nuts. Because these Moais fire a ton of rings, and if you get in the perfect safe spot, you can farm from all 4 of them at once until they all time out. And you get you reap 80,000 to 90,000 from that.
It goes without saying that because this is an 80s shmup, there aren't really particularly scoring mechanics besides kill stuff, so if more stuff appears, you get more points. Easy math.
And also, for the big Moai here, it fails miserably in this playthrough, but you can anger the bottom Moai and the top and the middle Moai, because the more you shoot them, the faster they'll open and close their mouths and send out more of the tiny Moais, and you can reap a ton from the tiny Moais and their rings.
Ooh.
So right here, you would just do this until it times out, but I killed the bottom Moai a little too quickly.
Man, that laser is so good.
I would say Type A is the second best of the 4, followed by Type D. Type D is my favorite to play with, and I would say Type A.
So this is A then, right?
Yes, this is A.
And third best would be C for me, and then 4th best would be B.
Yeah, this is
D is the type that's going to be used in the next run, in the PC-Engine run.
Type A, but just for the sake of diversity, I decided this version would be played with Type A. Here's the high-speed stage, which is not inspired by the escape sequence of Salamander. In fact, it's actually inspired by the escape sequence of Scramble.
Oh snap!
So I think it's pretty basic, but this is a really fun stage to play if you don't know the route, because you just blindly go through a tunnel and then you get trapped in a dead end and die.
It happens to everyone.
And this You need like 2 speed ups for that at least. I think you can make it with 1, but I'm not sure.
Those force field eaters.
Games mostly relied on memory to like as your main skill. So you memorize stuff, and by that you progress. The game just become better.
And then here's Big Core Mark II. As I always say, this boss is more bark than bite.
I think it's also called Heaven's Gate in Gradius Gaiden.
That's a different boss.
Oh.
This instruction manual apparently has very weird names for some of the bosses. Like, I think Big Core Mark III is called, like, QB2B or something. I don't know what that means.
Oh, that's just trivia. Okay, so this particular boss is exactly why not dying matters so much in this game, because if you have this long reach with your options, you can just go around its entire attack pattern and not be threatened. But if you're recovering, which would happen if you died in the stage, the boss would be harder to go around.
There is a safe spot for Big Core Mark II that's pretty easy to figure out. This stage is full of them, because it's the first boss rush stage in the series. Yeah, Big Core, he's not your typical just move up and down and you're good to go Big Core in this game. The spread shots you'd have to be mindful of, and it does occasionally try and ram you. Or if you just sit dead center in the middle of the screen, it will not move vertically.
Yay, Salamander.
Bosses are all from Salamander / Life Force. I think this is the only boss rush in the series to have organic bosses. There we have Brain Golem, and he only got a little bit smarter since Salamander.
I mean, yeah, it's like you still have to fight him like the original way, though, where like you bait the arms out and then go around. So if you didn't play the original games, you still might die to him.
No, Galaxy Brain is Gopher. So ambitious.
Yeah, Gopher was the original Galaxy Brain meme.
Now here's Tran. This is the first time you get to fight it in a horizontal orientation instead of a vertical one. Because in Salamander, you fought this thing in a vertical orientation. And it kind of does this now.
Destroy the core.
The slow down.
Oh yeah, it's pretty fun in this fight. It's even worse in the PC-Engine version, so get ready for that. And you really just want to kill this thing as soon as possible, because the longer you let it stand alive, the faster the arms move and the more they spread out.
Oh yeah, if you haven't watched it, you should watch the video of absurdly high loops. So like,
oh yes,
yeah, because it has Tran just to becoming a saw blade.
It just, the arms are spinning at like 10,000 miles per hour.
Nice.
This is what became of Death Mark 1 from Salamander. This is the organic version of it from Life Force.
Shoot it in the eye.
Eyeballs too, but again, that's not really feasible with the type I'm playing with.
I like how these guys were back in Gradius 5. And they're in Gradius 3, right? I think.
3. I think it's just 2, Gaiden and 5. And
Oh.
here's Intruder.
Gaiden, that's what I was thinking of.
Song
Intruder?
name Fire Dragon.
Intruder or Extruder?
Shoot it in the
Intruder, yes. And Intruder has penetrated our force field. And missiles are OP as heck.
Wow!
That cry is also in Rebirth. You kill the last 2 intruders at about the same time, the Fire Dragon music will keep playing for this boss.
Destroy the core.
That's fun.
It's like kind of fitting, actually.
Yeah, so isn't this missile pattern like set
Instead,
every
we just-
time? From the boss?
Yes. Strategy to just stay at the back and move forward when a missile's about to hit you.
I think that's a good strat.
Because of the laser. Oh yeah, this boss rush also has no checkpoints. If you die anywhere, you go all the way back to the beginning.
But you get the power up enemies, right?
You do get the Zugs.
Yeah.
Now it's time for stage 8. That will trip you off the first few times you play it.
Yeah, we hadn't really...
Once you master it, but it takes a while to master.
Yeah. Alright, so my final stage. Mechanical stage. I think, right?
Mm-hmm. And a shooting star just kind of keeps playing for no reason.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
This is another stage where you really don't want to die, especially the first checkpoint. You die at the first checkpoint, there is basically no recovering.
So you kind of just like move forward, and then when you need to, you can like tap dodge back a bit, or just kind of using your space with your options. We didn't really talk about it much yet, but that comes into definitely a big play here. Letting your options protect you either from the forward or the back by moving around a lot.
You survive against those tiles if you die.
Yeah, those tiles got some good HP.
They only take one hit, but there's but if you die, they all fly at you at the same time. Gun wall of the series, not counting center core. With the best boss music in the game.
With it. Like, you can be inside it before it gets just closes itself with the doors and destroy it instantly.
There's like 5,000 safe spots for this gun wall. It's awesome. I don't have auto fire, so I'm actually mashing 2 different keys at once.
Yeah, I was gonna ask what your setup was, because I noticed you weren't using auto fire with the laser.
Arrow keys are movement, and then I screwed up my button position. So Z is power up, X I believe was normal shot, and Shift was missile. So that's very awkward.
No, so you're not even using auto fire? Damn.
The emulator I was using had that as an option.
Damn. Hardcore.
A cannon that's just kind of in midair. I've never seen that before.
Playing Gradius with the auto fire is kind of rough because you actually, the laser actually gets better because that's kind of your auto fire at that point.
Series Arcade.
If you're really lazy.
It's for the DS. Gradius's auto fire makes the laser really terrible.
Oh, but
because the laser just fires in short, rapid bursts.
But that's
and
why you
keep
an auto fire toggle button. I always do when I switch to laser.
He does it, oh man, well, yeah.
Thing.
Auto fire toggle is really only a thing in MAME. I never really use it. Anyway, yeah.
Oh yeah, this thing.
Wow, it's the sexy dancer boss from Parodius.
A woman.
Yeah.
It's a spider thingy.
I think it's called Shadow Dancer or something.
It's club, but I don't know.
I don't know. And yeah, that's your final obstacle to the 1-all.
Not quite. There is one obstacle that a lot of players don't even realize if you're watching. These enemies that are about to fly in on screen that are firing.
Wow, that was rude.
Death runs to having them kill me.
That was pretty rude.
Yeah.
Like how, yeah, like how do you deal with that when you don't have?
Yeah, if you die there, it spawns you at the checkpoint is right before the doors close, and every single doctor is above and below you. But if you just stand still, none of them will hit you.
Yep. So this should be
the end
of the
this game
here.
is balanced. I would say. I don't know if I consider this game more balanced than Gradius 3 SNES, but.
Yeah, I mean it's not like super difficult at any given point. I don't think.
Hard boss.
Blah!
Counter to show up.
Okay, that's it. We got him
nice.
to the
So no death.
To the professional run. How does it feel to be a Gradius II professional? The pro shmup player.
It feels great.
You are a pro. That's a good ending music. Alright, so we're gonna get set up for PC-Engine version now.
Yes. So start at 20 seconds.
It come from.
Okay. We're gonna jump into this at 20 seconds here. Alright. Switching it up. GG.
Yeah, that's Gopher, the Galaxy Brain.
Alright, I'm at 22.
Question is. Alright, I'm at 20.
Yes, I'm at 20.
Oh, 20. Okay, my bad. Alright, I'll count us down. 3, 2, 1, go. So this should be the animated intro, right?
Shut up for the next minute and a half. Just shut up for the next minute and a half.
Just shut up.
Oh, badass, good.
Vic Viper and chill. Dick Viper. Sorry, someone had to say it.
It have to be you.
Oh man, hot jams.
Dick Viper. Now it's no longer you.
This intro, in case it wasn't obvious, is exclusive to PC-Engine.
This is nice.
Gotta love the stats that are absolutely useless.
5,000,005 horsepower.
Shield does withstand more hits than the Force Field. Boosh.
This is the Vic Viper after school special that we deserve in 2019.
Well, yes, there's this guy called Rekonami who does
I was gonna plug that.
The revamped versions of these intros, so that would be the modern version of that. That's pretty cool. Okay, this is the nice arcade intro that we skipped in.
Yeah, this is also in the arcade version. But for some reason you have to sit through the attract mode to actually see it in the arcade version. Or it's waiting to show.
Nice. They celebrate each year of Gradius leading up to it too. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Except 1987, because apparently Nemesis 2 doesn't matter. In here, so I'm gonna watch. I set my lives to 7 and continue on. When I set it to professional, it switches to defaults. You cannot play with any life setting higher than 3, and you cannot play with continues.
So is the professional like a code, or what did you do there?
Standard difficulty in the game.
Yeah, it doesn't unlock, unlike the arcade difficulty in Gradius 3 SNES, where you have to mash an inhuman amount of times to get it.
A few things to point out. So this isn't just the PC-Engine. This is PC-Engine Super CD-ROM 2.
Okay.
The reason why the music is the same as the arcade version, because all the music is CD-ROM. The quality is better in this version than the arcade version, because I love how it has that echo effect.
Also because it's a later release.
Yeah, so this one came out in 1992, whereas the original arcade was 88. So, yeah, so what kind of differences are we looking at for this PC-Engine version?
First stage has... The dragons are a little bit weirder. It's harder to get power-ups from the fireballs for some reason. And also, I think they have a lot more HP, but they also don't spawn nearly as frequently. Although on professional difficulty, they'll spawn a little bit more. than usual. Be like 2 other dragons, but there aren't.
So, well, what makes the professional so different than like the other hard modes of the Gradius?
So, it might not be evident now, but enemies will fire a lot, and the bullets move at ridiculously fast speeds late into the game.
Okay.
Like you'll be able to see later in the game. It gets intense. I'm actually playing with Type D. The two-way missile is probably the best weapon in the game because you just need to equip it and you have your bases covered. It also has the tail gun, which will be useful later, and the ripple laser, being a rapid-fire laser, is much more useful, I'd say.
But it also has a drawback that we are going to see in stuff like Stage 3 and stuff, because the hitbox of the laser is wider and it stops upon hit and stuff. So it will not sometimes go as far as you would want to, or with the basic laser.
It doesn't happen nearly that often, though, and I think it happens less often in this version.
Yeah, but then, like, yeah, to make up for double, you have, like, the missiles that go straight upwards and both top and bottom. Whereas with Type A, they only go bottom, but they go along the ground. So.
Yeah, Type A, they actually go until they hit something, and with the two-way missile, they stop upon colliding with terrain.
Ooh, that's pretty fast lasers.
Just generally more aggressive on the PC-Engine version. I think it also takes more health. But yeah, I kind of baited into teleporting between these two, the bottom 2 areas of the screen, because dodging the lasers at the top portion can be really tricky.
Oh, so it follows you around a bit.
It's not just a Phoenix, it's a professional Phoenix. It gets paid for killing you.
Yeah.
You're fired.
So I'm actually playing this on the Wii Virtual Console. I think this is one of the Japan. This is like one of the special Japanese games that was available on the Wii Virtual Console.
Right.
All right. I think we aren't doing it deep enough. We have to have a PSP emulator on the Wii running and play Gradius 2 from there. That would be perfect.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we didn't talk about it in the arcade run. This webbing is impossible to dig through.
The what now?
Also, an interesting thing is that with Type A, your laser color is... the color of both your laser and your shield actually depends on what type you have. So with Type A, it's green.
Oh,
with
okay.
Type B, it's kind of like an orange-ish. With Type B and D, it's kind of reddish-orange, and with Type C, it's blue.
How come they didn't give blue to Type A when Type A is supposed to be like the OG Gradius setup?
I don't know.
It doesn't make sense.
I don't know.
I was wondering about the colors.
The arcade version called Gradius II.xh that has a stage and loop select, and it also allows you to change the color to 8 different choices.
Damn.
Okay, so in what ways your strategy is differing from the previous run?
Well, in the first stage, I was generally trying to be more aggressive with the fire dragons, but because not as many of them spawn, it's kind of harder to reap a good score benefit out of them. And right here, in the arcade version, enemies that spawn from hatches don't give score, but in this version, they do. So I'm going to be farming from these enemy spawners a little bit.
Would be good to mention the look differences at this point. So what these are in both arcade and the PC Engine.
There's not many whip differences in arcade, but there's not many whip differences other than just general more aggressiveness. And there's 10 billion fire dragons that will spawn on stage 1. But there's one stage in particular that we are going to show that is very different on higher worlds.
Yeah. And
quick kill, super easy.
Smaller.
Damn.
That's actually useful for that big eye quick kill, because in the arcade version you need all 4 options to do it, and this version 3 will suffice.
That's nice.
The CD-ROM. Yeah, look how fast the bullets are already moving.
Oh, so those are revenge bullets, aren't they?
Okay,
they're not. There's no suicide bullets.
Yeah.
There's no suicide bullets.
Oh no.
If it looks like it, it's because an enemy fired right as it.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't make it any less terrifying, though.
I mean, yeah, they definitely look like revenge bullets.
I would argue this stage is easier in PC-Engine because your lasers actually, like, just pierce through these crystals.
Those bullets are really fast now, wow.
Yeah.
That's like double. That's like double speed from
the
original mode, I'd say, at least.
This is arcade on very hard.
Double arcade very hard. Is that what you said?
Arcade very hard.
Oh, this is arcade very hard. Okay.
All right.
If it were to be an arcade.
Also, the crystals are more FPS now. They're more smoothly animated.
Yeah, it seems like they're going down really quick.
I didn't notice that. They're a lot weaker in this version against your lasers.
But I find it good how Gradius III SNES is considered to be universally easier, and this version is actually harder than arcade.
Is it?
Well, I mean, normal on this version is basically the same between this and the arcade version. It's just that the hardest difficulty of this version is way harder than the hardest difficulty of arcade. But this probably, but if you're playing with the Wii Classic controller, I think either X or Y is an auto fire button, so I'm literally just holding that the entire time.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, if you're
and that makes this part super trivial.
Yeah. If you are using stuff like B-type, you don't want to be pressing auto-fire for missiles all the time because you would actually really want to control how they fire. So you wouldn't be blinded or you wouldn't miss because their cooldown is actually very long. So shooting with the B-type manually is a skill to learn.
So earlier I mentioned that I consider Type B to be the worst of the 4 types, and that's because it literally has no upwards firing advantage. The bomb, which only goes straight down, the tail gun, which goes forward and back, and the laser, which goes forward. You don't have anything that goes upwards.
Yeah, that's a problem.
With Type A and Type C, you have the double, and also Type C has the ripple laser, and with this, you have the two-way. Yeah, a lot of the save spots from the arcade version also work in this version. So the Crystal Core safe spot that we mentioned earlier works here also. There's also a safe spot on the previous boss, Big Eye, where you can hide above the top arm and place your options in such a way that they can take out the Big Eye without having to move. And I think that works in this version as well. I'm going to do the same Option Hunter manipulation that you saw in, well, except I believe in this run, I actually stay at 3 options for the rest of the run following this. Guys, it's a lot harder to dodge the Option Hunter in the boss rush in this version because you have less room to move.
So I want you to pay attention to this because the layout is going to be changed in the loop. And we're going to show you this stage again. So this is the only.
Let's not spoil any.
Yeah.
Let's not spoil anything. They need to be surprised.
Yeah.
Two-way just takes out that hatch right away, whereas I had a lot of trouble doing that with the double. They're not going to stand a chance against the ripple laser at rapid fire. Again, this song is a banger, and surprisingly sounds really good on piano.
Yeah, this is a really competent port, for sure, especially with the CD music.
Yeah, I'm impressed. Usually about the arcade games, when they get ported to console, they tend to become easier, and I like that it's not the case with this one.
Yeah, this game is basically the same between Arcade and PC Engine, and that's very impressive considering how much weaker the PC Engine is. So here's, coming up, we're going to refight Death March 2. There's actually a very subtle difference between difficulties that you might not notice when you're first playing through this game, but the higher the difficulty or loop, the less spread out the missiles are. So if you remember, they were pretty spread out in the arcade version on normal difficulty. Here, there's like barely any room between the outer missiles.
That's one change, huh?
It's tough to notice.
That also applies in the arcade version. If you're playing in the arcade version on higher loops or difficulties, the missiles are less spread out. Also, can we just shout out that one wet wiggling missile?
Oh yeah, that always bothered me.
Option inside boss for the win.
Yeah, that stage is like a lot of just kind of being aware of what's coming up and then just being prepared to take out some of the upper and bottom turrets and stuff. Yeah, that was a tough stage though.
Bad on professional.
This is the kind of port that got me interested enough. Like, now that I see it, I want to emulate it and do a 1cc of this, because I only have the 1cc of arcade one.
Yeah, this is nice.
Well, yeah, because I'm nuts about
Type
that kind
D
of stuff.
is so much better for point reaping in this stage, because the ripple laser isn't going to pierce through all the rings, so you can reap a lot more out of them. That's going to become more evident once the red Y start appearing, and and I'm actually going to be doing some farming on the jumping Y and big Y bosses.
Yes, and then like in this one, you don't really need to worry about rank, do you? I'm assuming it does have it though.
Yeah, there's not anything you can do in terms of like rank manipulation.
Seems like this game's
Other
hardest
than just-
difficulty is not that bad, so.
Worse. It gets worse, trust me.
Okay.
Stages are terrifying on this difficulty. Yo, Palm Y's here. Yo, mama has big feet. Oh crap, I made them angry. So funnily enough, the two versions of this song, the Old Stone Age, the like slowed down version and this version, I believe they're actually like separated in OSTs. They're called the Old Stone Age 1 and 2.
Nice.
They are.
Cheerio
Old Stone
beam.
Age. And if you die once the Old Stone Age 2 starts, it just starts it right away with 2.
SpaghettiOs.
Thing to notice about this particular section is that in arcade, because the playfield's bigger, it's much easier to see that the firing angles are very separate from each other. So it just picks, because that's how the aiming works in very old shmups. It always picks the angle closest to you, and there aren't really like enough angles to put in to cover all of them, so it's always gonna be like spots between them. And here, because there's less space, and also because, well, PC Engine is like more modern, it can do more angles, and so the Cheerios are much more spread out as a result. That's another difference to consider.
Optimal farming strategy for jumping Y here. I also do this when I'm playing this on the PSP, but I'm going to kill these top two Y and then just let the bottom two live and just farm from their rings.
Delicious score.
Yeah, you can reap up a ton from this. So, funnily enough, this is actually the reason why there's 3 different versions of the arcade version. So, the old version, these rings gave points. The Y never timed out, and your extend bonus was first at 20,000 and then every 70,000, and that's also the case in this. The extends are also that way in this part. But the problem with that is that players can just farm from this boss infinitely and rake on infinite lives. So they made a new version where these rings don't give points, and then they made another version where the rings do give points, but extends are first at 20,000 and then every 150,000. This version's kind of like a mixture. It has extends at first at 20,000 and then every 70,000, but the rings do give points and they do time out.
Yeah.
There's questions. Does the boss become vulnerable before he starts shooting?
If you mean jumping line, no. And neither does this boss. Okay, so the farming strategy that you can use in the arcade version doesn't work well in this port because of the smaller screen space. Even if you're as far back as possible, the missiles will still fly into the bottom line's mouth. And they will eventually destroy it.
Definitely had more room in the arcade.
I do try to reap a little bit out of this.
Don't never talk to me or my sons ever again.
Now the Moai is angry, so he's gonna puke out a few more of these things.
His sons.
Obviously, you don't have to do anything with the top Moai. You can just kind of ignore it and parley. Anybody does? 100,000 from this thing if you do it properly.
Do even the tiny Cheerios give points?
Do.
Nice.
That's what
if enough of them are on
do.
screen, it's just massive farming.
You broke his peanut brittle crust. On to the next stage.
Flying here is way slower in PC-Engine than arcade.
You'll never eat me, never!
I think it's you'll never beat me, never. But I know I get you the joke you were making. Me never, that's what it was. This isn't the same dogfight pattern as Stage 6 from the arcade version. What is this?
Oh, we got Graveyard Stage?
The engine version has an exclusive stage.
Yes, Graveyard Stage is the best graveyard. Wait, is it Graveyard or is it Egypt?
It's like kind of both. It's like Ruins.
Oh,
I'd
shit.
It's kind of like the Ruin stage from Nemesis 2 MSX.
Yeah. These stages are badass. With all the
falling pillars work. I believe it's once you move under them. But it could also be if you shoot them enough. I'm not entirely sure.
Oh man. The little sand explosions. That's epic.
This stage used to give me so much trouble when I was playing this port. Because of all the tight spaces and how easy it can be to die. Nothing though.
The music is epic too. Doesn't quite fit the rest of the game's soundtrack, but I still like it.
Pay attention to that bottom path down there. Notice how tiny it is. I've heard that if you somehow manage to make it all the way through there, you get like 5 extra lives and the announcer shouts, "Oh yeah!"
What? That sounds epic.
Yeah, but I've tried it, I can't do it. Even with 0 speed-ups, I can't do it.
Oh man.
Isn't Kool-Aid Man famous about like going through walls? That's what you do.
Dude.
Yeah, I thought about that when I said that.
Look out behind you.
Look up behind you.
Thank you. What's his name? Nobody knows.
Destroy the core.
And for like music and boss subtitles, I literally just named this boss a bunch of question marks.
Man.
By the way,
Popped them.
boss, if you know how to handle it. Our regularly scheduled stage progression.
Yeah, the stage wasn't super long, but not bad, not bad. I like it. Do 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 do.
Like music in this game is just epic.
It's hard
more spread out.
Hard to express just how good this port is. I'm amazed.
Really is good.
Yeah, it has been verified that for some reason in the arcade and PC-Engine ports, again, you can just go through these walls if you have the force field. It's like if you get stuck in a dead end, you just run forward and you can escape if you have a fully charged force field.
It's pretty good.
I'm pretty sure that was intentionally programmed into the game.
Yes, because collision of force field counts like every frame, and if you're fast enough, you can escape it before it does too much damage.
Yeah. It's also like that in Gradius 5. If you have the force field in Gradius 5, you can pass through walls.
On field.
Yeah, basically I just took the same route. To be at the front of the screen to avoid those gates, but it's a lot safer to just go forward. You can just stay at the very back and in the center of the closing gates and you'll make it.
Destroy the core.
It's a joke in this version. For some reason, the barriers have like 1 HP each. Traded in this run in particular, but yeah.
Do. Nice, 9 lives. It's a lot.
Okay, one question.
Yeah, that's the advantage of farming for score. The more points you get, the more lives you get, and the less likely you are to game over to get caught in a bad situation.
Okay, what would be your recovery strategy on the Zabrush?
On field.
Get a missile or laser and as many options as possible.
Destroy the core.
Notice that the more berries you take out on Big Core here, the slower it moves.
Okay. Also, this is a bit harder here because the revenge bullets from the barriers, they fly up faster and occupy more space.
Brain Golem is a lot weirder on this version. The arms take a lot longer to... Notice how this arm takes a lot, it moves a lot slower, and so you can't really get the arms into position by the time Brain Golem starts moving. On the left there, it's gonna be kind of weird.
Alright, any other interesting checkpoints that you've recovered from?
That's a tough question to answer. Typically, I just try to no-death this game, honestly. The only really good place to recover is like against Club at the very end, and even that checkpoint's difficult.
Okay, so you would say Gradius 2 is already significantly harder to recover on average than in Gradius 1?
Yes. Tran, massive lag and sprite flicker. And second of all, pay attention to how fast the bullets are moving and how often they are fired. This is probably the scariest boss on professional difficulty.
Just
faster moving because of the slowdown.
Yeah, in the previous run we were just destroying Tetrans casually, but now we are a professional. We can't just do that now. It's hard.
And the arms freaking block you every chance you get, so it's really hard to get a good shot in on it. Like once you get the arms are finally in a good enough position to where you can get your options in position to fire at the core, and then a bullet fires in your direction, so you have to move out of the way and you lose your shot. Farm from Gato. So I'm just gonna up to 10 eyeballs at a time, and each gives 100 points, so you can get up to 1,000 each time. You can reap up to like 30,000 with this.
And how much are the extends again?
First at 20,000 and then every 70,000. The next extend isn't until 510,000.
Yes.
Get out of here.
The arcade.
Oh! Now the hard part.
Gradius rank at its finest. I'm gonna lose my force field here. Notice how fast the lasers are being fired. I lose my force field, they start firing at a slower rate. Gradius rank at its finest.
You almost slid into that laser when you lost the force field.
Yeah, that was pretty frightening.
and because it's a no miss, you would have discarded the whole run.
I wasn't particularly aiming for a no-death run for this recording, but if I had died enough times to the boss rush, I probably would have just scrapped it, because it would have been really aggravating.
So
it was
your
scarier
goal was...
than it needed to be. The heads have a lot more HP this time around.
That one dragon went the other way, but
glitch exists in this version, though.
Sounds like a T-Rex.
That sound bite, that dinosaur sound bite that always gets borrowed.
Hey, it can sound like a T-Rex. Yeah, everybody knows that Konami couldn't afford T-Rexes back then.
Yeah. There's a safe spot for covered core where you can hide up in the upper right-hand corner and avoid the missiles that come out. The only problem is it's not really effective for killing it, it's only really effective for timing it out. And here I'm taking on covered core like a man. Kind of.
Like a professional.
Yes, indeed. Indeed.
This one looks easier.
That slowdown, though. So good.
Yeah, the slowdown makes it manageable.
Well, because when you try to recover, you probably won't... You only get like 1 or 2 options, and you probably won't get the same amount of slowdown to help you out, so... Good luck!
In that case, you would safer.
This mid-boss, it has probably more entities on screen than like a lot of objects.
When I was first trying to 1cc this game a while back, I lost a lot of runs to covered core because the SuperViper's tail engine flame, I'm pretty sure, is part of the hitbox.
Damn, really?
If a missile hits that, you're just dead, and then you go all the way back to the start of the boss rush, which is annoying. This difficulty looked insane throughout the first 8 stages. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, here we go.
This is probably the scariest stage in the run.
Stick and move, Max. Stick and move.
Easier to tell just how terrifying this is when you're actually playing instead of when you're watching.
Yeah, well,
you will notice the speed difference in bullets when you're playing.
Oh, I see. This is what you meant by saying it gets worse. It does get really worse. Even just duckers, they are standing not exactly on the the tops of the platforms, but they're kind of like clipping into them.
Oh yeah, and here's these hatches. You want to take them out ASAP, because the enemies they spew will fire a crap ton at you.
We just replaced those tiles at Home Depot. Go ahead.
Version, there's just turrets in the ceiling here.
Oh.
I don't know why.
On hardest difficulty?
I lost a recorded attempt of this because I was too far forward on the screen when Demos formed, and I ended up crashing into it.
Oh no.
Demos goes down in this version because Ripple Laser is OP as heck.
So you're saying when it timed out, it pushed you into it?
Or like, when like the wall formed.
Gradius is so full of things that when you look at them, they violate your common sense so much, but are actually viable strats, like just standing right there before the gun wall and just letting the ducker shoot at you constantly.
Yeah, because you're too close for the cannons to fire.
Those duckers, they behave extremely weirdly.
Yeah.
I don't even
Worst
know if
enemies
it's a
in the
glitch.
series.
Yes, but they clearly didn't in the arcade version, did they?
Weirdly in that version.
I like how this music plays for like
this tail gun.
This section as well. Like you haven't even started fighting the walker yet. Do. That's all you needed for the song. It's just do.
best checkpoint to recover from in the game, I would say. Because, like, if you get a missile and a double, or in this case, the two-way and the tail gun, that covers your bases. Or even if you just get the two-way, that covers your bases. So, hopefully, if you just dodge all the duckers, you don't die. But the problem with the PC Engine version is coming up. Because of the smaller screen space, you can't do the same maneuver that you can do in the arcade version. You actually have to move forward with the legs that one additional time.
Oh man, tricky.
On field.
To do that without crashing.
Man, that's not even the second loop, and they changed that in professional difficulty. Or no, that's from the arcade version. You're saying? Oh.
Yeah, it's a difference between arcade and PC Engine because of the smaller screen size.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And we should probably show off the ending because the PC Engine version actually has different endings depending on what difficulty you complete it on.
Nice.
It just shows you a screen telling you play on normal difficulty, you stupid idiot. Normal is the typical arcade version ending. Hard mode is just the big Viper kind of flying around a bunch of times. And professional is the one you want to see.
Alright.
Wait to kill Gopher here. He's the strongest and then immediately gets killed.
I am the front.
Vampire Bacterian. Blah!
That scream is so epic.
Gopher doesn't do anything, he just does galaxy brain strats by just trolling you with insane memes until just you die of boredom.
And here we go. Satisfying little fly through space. Reminiscing over everything you destroyed.
Oh yeah, that will become the robot graveyard in Gradius Guidance Stage 2.
Nice, the stages.
Continuity.
And there's this additional voice clip that plays if you beat it on professional.
Congratulations. That's it?
Perfect.
Oh man, the timing. I was gonna say it's the message like, congratulations, you've won a hot bowl of soup.
I mean, if you're a professional, you have to kind of work like for yourself, for your life, feed yourself. Okay,
Hey,
so
show up.
He's trying to get that paycheck.
Okay, so
The insanity that is Volcano Stage on Loop 2.
Okay, 4630 times 10.
Okay, so
Yeah, I'm
we're
at 4630.
alright, we're jumping forward. We're not gonna watch all of the Loop 2, we're just gonna get a taste of it here. And
Basically, I no-death it until Big Y and then die like 16 times to Big Y and game over.
so you can talk about the differences between the Loop 1 and Loop 2. Otherwise, I think we already covered it, but
major differences.
Yeah, it's if you want to see like the rest of the run, you can just check out the YouTube description. We always supply our sources there. So countdown for this, please.
Sure. All right, 4630. Yep. All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, as I mentioned before,
there were a ton of. You know how there were a ton of cliffs in Loop 1? Every single one of them is now a volcano.
What? Volcano City?
Yeah.
Welcome to Violent
It's really good for score, though.
That seems kind of like lazy, just making everything a volcano.
Yes, but this it's still more change than in every other stage in the game.
So do the other stages have like layout changes at all, or just this one?
This one.
Just this one.
Also,
that's weird. Considering they did multiple stage differences starting in Gradius 3.
Yeah, Gradius 3 has differences in stages 1 and 3. Gradius 4 was for the first 5 stages. And Guided has them in literally every stage.
Yeah, it's epic stuff.
This is why Gaiden is the best game.
So it's nice if you get to the second loop, you at least, in this far at least, you can get tons of score from the volcano. you're doing a score run, I guess.
As long as you don't die.
I guess that's quite the reward to encourage players to loop.
Yeah, big scoring.
Yeah, I usually like, whenever I'm doing one of these runs, I usually like to try my hand at the higher loops, even if I don't get very far. I just play until I game over, because it just feels right.
Or until you can't recover anymore.
And well, in that case, I just try to recover, even though I know I'm not going to, and just let the game kill all my lives.
Yeah.
If in Gradius 1 you could recover from pretty much every single checkpoint, they were well playtested. I'm not sure that they were as well playtested in the following games, so this might just be the last one.
Destroy the core.
Where they
only
are
kind of harder.
Okay.
Oh, the revenge bullets. Don't forget those.
All right. As a viewer of this run, I'm very pleased with the quality of the port. It's one of the best arcade to console ports that I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was epic. Well, there's also the original.
Good.
Oh, like 68K version.
Yeah. Gradius 2 has a slapping soundtrack.
Yeah, of course there's some other ports and whatnot. The Gradius collection, or the collections and the deluxe pack or whatever. PSP.
Alright.
And whatnot. But yeah, pretty cool. Nice to see both versions of Gradius 2. Of course, PC-Engine also has Gradius 1. Go ahead.
And Salamander and Gradius II.
Yeah, actually, TurboGrafx / PC-Engine has a lot of great shmups on it. Some obscure ones as well. But I think we pretty much touched up on this game pretty nicely. It was cool to see the professional difficulty in the PC-Engine version. Oh man!
And always remember, shoot it in the mouth.
I was watching the dragons just flood you in on the second loop of the arcade run from earlier, right now.
I think we would show the PC-Engine loop too instead. I kind of embarrassed myself in that. It's a lot harder in arcade.
I'll jump to it real quick.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you guys should watch it. Like that's your homework for today, and recover on every single checkpoint. Yes.
Yeah, the all recovery run. See, to do that, you actually have to beat like 2 loops with messing up your lives, and then you actually have to go back and then recover on every checkpoint with your lives, only to get that.
Well, I've actually done this thing with a couple of Gradius games that I kind of want to do more often, which is the 2 speed up only challenge, where I beat the entire game with nothing but speed ups.
Yeah, definitely. But those are some fun challenge runs you can do.
I think the only 2 games I've done that for the entire game is Gradius and the arcade version, and Gradius II Arcade. And Gradius II I had to kind of cheat by allowing bell powers.
I mean, that pea shooters, it can get that job done, you know. It can get the job done.
Especially if you mash hard enough.
just point blanking everything. The point blank god. Oh. All right. Yeah.
Play this game. It's fairly easy once you see. I'd say, especially compared to such titles as Gradius 3 and Gradius 4.
Oh yeah. Gradius 2 is definitely very approachable as far as the series goes. Next to Gradius Gaiden, I would say. It's probably the one, and Gradius 3. Like those are the ones you want to get into. And then you can play Gradius
3 SNES are probably the more balanced arcade game, or not the more balanced Gradius games. 1 is one of the easier ones. Gaiden and Rebirth are also kind of easy, because Gaiden just floods you with power-ups, and Rebirth is really short.
Yeah,
Gradius 2 NES, we might cover. I think Xtruder, you said you wanted to do like a miscellaneous Gradius episode at some point.
Yeah, it might be in the future, yes, so... I hope you guys...
The NES port of this game, or the Famicom port, is surprisingly a lot different than either of these 2 versions. It's also a lot more stupid in a variety of ways, but it's also a somewhat easy port. So that'll definitely be something to cover in the future.
Awesome. Okay, guys. Well, thanks for watching and coming out today for the continuation of SCG Weekly in episode 171. Shouts to Extruder for organizing this one, and SuperViper, of course, for coming on again. Give us the lowdown.
Yeah, for being a professional, man.
Mr. Professional mode.
That'll be the meme of this episode, is professional.
Just, yeah, hashtag professional. Alright. Anyway, take care, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Ciao.
Great. Or than SNES.